Guys, welcome back to JB's Toy Trunk for another action figure review. This time it's going to be of Masters of the Universe Vintage Collection, Faker. He is, if you didn't know, the evil robot of Skeletor. Found this at a Walmart right here in Somerville. Thanks to Justin of Action Figure Now for giving us the tip. And then, of course, I was at work, but Marcia was able to get off work and go over and grab this bad boy. There was quite a few of them out there, and definitely something we were looking forward to when it comes to adding it to the collection. I do like the Masterverse New Eternia and Vintage Collection style figures. A couple years ago when they had the 40th He-Man, I was like, you know what? We're eventually going to get a repaint or a redo of it with Faker, and a couple years later, here we are. So I wish it would have happened kind of like back to back, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. Here we go with Faker. I've been showing you guys the box as I was talking. 30 points of articulation. Some more of the standard and classic Masters of the Universe artwork right here. Here's Skeletor, Faker, the evil robot of Skeletor, and of course we got our man, the big man himself, He-Man. Little cross cell right here, armed for battle, and then reveal the robotic recorder. So there it is right there. Faker, evil robot of Skeletor. So we did have a Masterverse Faker when the line first started. Passed on him. I was like, we need the blue one. Here's the blue one. Let's get him out of the box. I like to go ahead and open this up from the top. I've tried other ways, but the top is probably the easiest. I don't know why I've tried to go any other way. So here's Faker out of the box. Let's see what else is inside. There it is, open. Should be his weapons, as I'm getting dust all over the place. All right, so it comes in a nice, cool little Masters of the Universe baggie. Here he is in a plastic. We're gonna go ahead and snip this guy out and see what we have in front of us. Here he is, there's our Faker. Here's his sword. And let's open up the bag of goodies and see what's inside. Oh, look at that. Can you guys see that? You get a right fist, and then you get a left C grip, and then on his hands you get a right C grip and a karate chop. A karate chop for his left hand there. Inside you get a shield, standard shield, no paint on it, just looks like that. Almost like a bronze type of plastic to it. Here's his axe. Yep, the standard things we would see with a He-Man or a Faker. Let's go ahead and look at Faker a little bit closer. So here's his head sculpt. I don't have a vintage He-Man or Faker on me, but from what I remember, it's pretty close. That bright orange that I remember when the vintage Faker. I have the Origins Faker, I'll get it here in a minute. But I know our Origins and our vintage didn't have these nice little details on the shoulder pads. Got a nice little harness here for either the sword or his axe. I don't think the shield, yeah, the shield won't attach to there. And you can see here that the buckle's already starting to come out. We'll take this off here in a minute. Nice blue coloring, Faker blue. And you can see some detail as far as different shading along the muscles. You got the tricep and the bicep and the deltoids. And you can see here his horseshoe. Man, this guy works out. Look at that horseshoe. Nice shadowing and details. The striations along the rear delts, along the forearms. And when you come down to the quads, you guys could see it pretty good there too. Along the hamstrings, quads up here to the calves. Very, very cool. Nice blue loincloth. It's got that plastic rubber. It's got the black underoos on. And his belt, almost like a gunmetal. It's that plastic, but it looks really good. That's a good color. We've seen this before in some of the other Masterverse figures. I'm thinking Trapjaw had a lot of this color, colored plastic on his on the figure. He has his left gauntlet right here, or his left forearm guard. Doesn't look, yeah, I'm sure if you took off the hand you could have it removed, and we'll check that here in a minute. On his right, he's got his bracelet. Pretty cool. Boots. Let's look at the color of the boots. Same color as the loincloth. Nice deep purple, blue. Very Skeletor-esque. You know, he is the robot of Skeletor, by the way, if you didn't know. Here's his abs. Good coloration in the abs. Let's go ahead and remove his shoulder pads and see what's underneath. All right, just like a lot of the He-Man figures, you just go ahead and do that. And it looks like we're gonna take the head off to get the shoulder pads off. Pretty good detail. Let's see right there. Can you guys see it right there? The knobs, the buttons, the dials. With the shoulder pads off, you got a upper torso right in there. Swivel at the waist. Let's go ahead and look at his arms. Go ahead and 360. The left and the right. Let's see his T-pose. Oh yeah, look at that. Straight out, no issues there. No butterfly, but I don't really think you need it there. Swivel at the bicep, double joints at the elbow. Swivel at the wrist. And this wrist is a vertical hinge up and down. On the left side, bicep, double hinge right there at the elbows. Let's see if we can get it. It's not. There you go. You got the gauntlet kind of getting in the way. And with his slap hand, horizontal swivel. On the legs, let's see how far he can Van Damme. This guy, let's put his head. Let's make him look complete. This guy can Van Damme and T-pose like no other. How far is your kick? Kick, not bad at all. See, can you guys see that? Not bad at all. To the rear. Woo! Look at that. Flex right there in the backside and the hamstring. Double articulation right there at the knees. Kicks his back. Swivel at the thigh. Swivel at the boot. Point down, point up. Rocker right here. Very nice. And very, I almost gonna say very tight, but tight enough. A little loose right there, but everywhere else is still pretty good. All right, so the right, same as the left. Let's see if there's any issues. Bending it back, no. Very cool. There he is, he's flying at you. There he is, Faker coming in for the real deal. Not bad at all, guys. So that's the articulation. Oh, his head, 360 around, attitude left and right. You can look down, you can look up. Not bad. There's our Faker without his shoulder pads. I'll go ahead and put his shoulder pads back on, probably put on the shield and change out his hands. Well, I was having a little issue getting this shoulder pad on. It's really tight. I got one side on, but this side is just not, I guess you could say, it doesn't feel like it's long enough. And you guys saw when I pulled it out the box that it was already kind of off. So, you know, I'll keep working it. You know, once I get it posed in on the shelf, it'll be fine. But if I wanted to get out and play with it a little bit, it'll probably kind of come off a little bit. So strike one right there. You know, not able to really put that shoulder pad on all the way. And I also forgot to mention, like when we were looking here, looking at the hair, pretty good hair detail. Not so much the sculpt, but the color, orange and browns for He-Man. I did take off his left hand. So here is, like I was saying, there's his gauntlet. We'll put that back on. It fits on right there. And let's go ahead and put the C grip for the left hand, because we had it on the right hand earlier. And this one is not a vertical, but it's a horizontal in and out. And it's actually kind of tight. There you go. There you go. And we always have to do this. Like sometimes you could put the hand, you know, on there and then kind of port it in that way. Let's see, that gauntlet might be, it might actually fit. All right, so I got it to work. I just took off the gauntlet because if I'm gonna be posing them in the shield, I would probably have them like that anyways. But yeah, this just won't stay on. So I did put on the fist with the shield, but that really doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna go ahead and take this hand off, put the other C grip on there. That way he has the axe. He can actually wield his sword right there. So got our Faker. Yeah, this is bothering me right here. And I'm guessing because of the, you know, the his display up here is preventing that from closing all the way. Well, we'll leave it like that. And you see it kind of gets pushed up. Let's go ahead and pose our Faker right there. Let me go ahead and get some other action figures so we can get his measurement and see how he compares to the rest. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other comparisons with some of the other Fakers and or Masters of the Universe figures. So here is the Origins Faker. And I really wish I had a vintage one on me. But look at that. As soon as I had picked him up, his shoulder pads were the same way. Now, these are the ones that we remember on our vintage ones for the most part. And you can see here, there's a decal on his digital reader instead of the raised actual plastic. So key differences there. Also, look at that hair color. You're looking at like a coral, a bright neon coral. And of course this like darker orange, brown, you know, almost red compared to that. So differences there. Shades of blue, a little different. Overall, I think they captured the intent of this Faker. You know, again, that's not a vintage one, but it's close to the vintage one. That's an Origins one. So again, I think they're hitting it, you know, right on head. New Eternia style vintage collection with Masters of the Universe. So I pulled our He-Man, the 40th He-Man, which is basically the same body. I think it's same head sculpts, obviously different painting. Now the thing about his shoulder pads or his armor, it came with this little like a push thing right here where it comes off and you just kind of press it in. Interesting. I don't remember the vintage one or the Origins one doing the same thing, but very close to it. And since I got He-Man out here, I don't have the vintage Skeletor yet, but I got the recent Skeletor with the throne. We'll put him right over there, and you can see a little bit of a size difference. Now, is Skeletor shorter than He-Man? I really can't remember. You know, I wish I did. Since we have them there together, let's go ahead and check his height so you guys could actually see. He's about 7.5. I'm looking at about 7.5 for Faker. So Faker and then He-Man 7.5. And just for, since we're here, Skeletor is about a 7.25. Here's some more comparisons. Let's go ahead and pull in a Turtles of Grayskull Slacker, just for size comparisons. So you got an evil group of dudes there all around the Faker. So we got Turtles of Grayskull Slacker, Faker from the Origins line, Skeletor, and our Faker from the Vintage Collection, Masters of the Universe Vintage Collection. So if you don't collect Masterverse or Masters of the Universe and you're trying to figure out how else do these scale, well, let's go ahead and pull out some recent pickups. We got Chester the Cheetah over here. He's not a tall person, but Tony the Tiger, he's a tall cat right there. So looking at size comparisons, Faker's got him. Another recent pickup we had was a Sinestro. Let's put a Sinestro over here. I picked out, he was blue. So, and Sinestro is from our McFarlane line. They're about 5.5, 6 inch figures. Some more comparisons simply because I think this is kind of the fun part about reviews is let's go ahead and put our new Storm Collectibles Blanca. And I picked him because of that, well, we just got him. He's a pretty big figure and he's got that bright orange. I was like, you know what, that'll look pretty good. And no rhyme or reason, just I had him standing around. He had a shield and some weapons. Here is Sir Elijah. Not the normal trio that you would see either in a video game or in a toy room, but that's how we are here. A little bit of everything. And one more comparison simply because it's always fun. This guy has a smile that any mother would love. Happy to see Faker in the toy trunk. That is Tatsu from NECA. So guys, my final thoughts on Faker Masterverse Vintage Collection. I like it. Thumbs up for sure. Glad we got him to the collection. One con, I guess you could say, is that part right there with the shoulder pads. Again, once we get him set up, I could get it to kind of stay and he'll be fine. Now, you shouldn't have to, I get it, but, you know, small price to pay. All right, guys, leave it in the comments. Do you guys collect Masters of the Universe? What do you guys think about the Masterverse line? Did you guys, like many of us, actually stop collecting them and then restart up once they started getting the new Eternia figures in? So there we have Faker, guys. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe if you're new, bell for notifications. Always enjoy the ride. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Hello? Anybody in there? Hello?